it's Mando Monday. Woo! This episode of The Mandalorian, Book of Boba Fett. That's where we're at. Book of Boba Fett, Chapter 3, The Last Jedi. Because there's a lot of Last Jedi talk. Yeah. Like way too much Last Jedi talk. Like your whole half of this show. If you're really interested in Book of Boba Fett, just cut us off at like the first half hour thing. Because we tried to finish the episode. We don't really get to it. We just sort of... Yeah, we just go into The Last Jedi. A lot of Last Jedi. Mainly because we have Drew and Caleb here, and they're like two opposites on the spectrum of this.
Yeah.
Like he hates it, he loves it, and there's like just clashing in between.
If you like arguments, stay for that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, there's not really a fist fight yet, but we're getting there.
That's table flipping.
No, we haven't quite.
I'm going to cut a promo one day, wrestling style.
And then I guess you have the belt and I'm coming for it.
Ooh.
I'll take the championship.
I feel a challenge going on. So all that and a lot more this episode, so come watch it.
You're listening to the Mobcast Network.
Welcome to My Star Wars Life, a look at news, reviews, and other happenings from a galaxy far, far away. Here are your hosts, Scotty and JD.
Welcome to Mando Monday!
Hey.
Yay,
it's
man.
Mando Monday!
Do you still do the song?
We do.
Mando Mondays. Just making sure.
We'll do whatever. I'm your Native American pop culture spirit guide, Scotty, and I'm joined by our Jedi Master who has COVID, so he's not with us today.
He's a ghost.
He's a ghost.
Yeah.
I hope not. I hope he's still with us in some form.
Yes, but I still want a blue JD.
What?
What?
Yeah, he's kind of blue. He's like,
we didn't hear it that way.
I didn't say that.
I wanted to check the tape.
Yeah.
Instant replay.
Yeah.
It's like slow-mo down, zoom in on my lips.
I want a blue JD.
Yeah.
No.
I know my name is Caleb, but I don't want him to go the way of Depa Blaba yet.
Oh, look at that. Deep cuts already.
Deep cuts.
Since we have no Jedi Master, we have the dent in Boba Fett's crotch armor. Or now the Larry David of Tatooine.
Yes, that's it. That's exactly.
Go awesome stuff. True all.
If I could get Max Rebo to play, maybe that's what I'll dub in. I'll dub in Max Rebo playing the Larry David music.
I got you.
Like the Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Yeah. Exactly right.
And then we have Padawan Gellman over here.
Hello there. It's become my thing.
It's stuck.
That's great. Too funny.
It is Mando Monday, so this is the show where we talk about all things Mandalorian and Mandalorian adjacent.
Does that include Power Rangers?
Yes,
Yeah.
because they will get mentioned in this episode.
Well, they also wear masks.
They do.
Oh, it's just, I have so many things.
Oh, I have so many things too about this episode. This is Chapter 3, The Streets of Mos Espa, directed by Robert Rodriguez, in the most Robert Rodriguez episode of Star Wars ever to Robert Rodriguez.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Written by Jon Favreau, who I've now decided that should not write everything. Should have a writer's room. Maybe. I don't know. Guest stars Stephen Root, the one and only great. I don't want to understand why Stephen Root doesn't have an Oscar as Lortha Peel. Sophie Thatcher, who was in that one movie with Pedro Pascal.
Yep.
That I cannot think of the name of. That I did not see. It's not Europa, something like that. Somebody. She's stuck on a planet with somebody.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's a Netflix thing, I think,
Yeah.
or Amazon Prime. As Drash, Jordan Bolger as Scad.
Could change it to a T and it'd be real bad.
Nope. Danny Trejo as the Rancor Keeper.
Machete in space.
Machete, literally.
Yeah, there you go.
Literally.
We finally got it.
Yeah.
It only took us how many years?
Yeah. Well, this is in the past. A long time
I'm
ago.
going far.
Also, we didn't get Leo yet because that was promised also for the...
It's true.
So, let's dive into this thing. Are you guys ready?
Sure.
Act 1. Boba Fett continues his attempt at being a crime boss. Hearing about the power vacuum left after Jabba's death, the city is divided into 3. The Trandoshans, the Aqualish, and the Klatooinians each have a piece of the city. And on top of that, Bib Fortuna was lining the pockets of Mokshaz the mayor, which also complicates things. Enter the watermonger, Milton, who's all like, they took my water. It's my water. I brought it from home, and the rules say I'm allowed to have my water and listen to my radio at an acceptable volume. But they came in and they took my water, or something like that. I was all like, it's Stephen Root. I don't know what he's saying. So it looks like the cybernetic gang on Space Vespas have taken the water, and well, the watermonger can't have that. Plus, it gives Fett a black eye or something. So Fett and Fennec go check it out and run to a group of teenagers with attitude, robot parts, and shiny, color-coordinated hover Vespas. Their leader, Drash, looks like she could be the long-lost daughter of Jen Erso, and is mouthy with Fett. The watermonger charges too high, there's no work, and Fett is just another crime boss. Luckily, Fett is in the market for a group of teenagers with attitude, and so go Power Rangers! They join up.
Oh my god.
Turns out the watermonger is charging too high and is upset with that Fett hired them instead of destroying them. Fett pays him less than half of what he thinks he's owed and for the stolen water, and tells him to lower his prices. And if he doesn't like it, he can go to Mos Espa. Act 2. Back to Fett's under the Bacta tank and dreaming. He's remembering his time with the Tuscans. Fett goes to collect the tribute from the Pikes, except yet they don't want to pay protection both to the Tuscans and the Nikto swoop gang. So Fett says he'll take care of that, and on the way back he finds the Tuscan Villa destroyed and all his people slain, including little Jimmy Kimmel Tuscan.
Jimmy
It's Jimmy Kimmel's nephew.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
And Badass Lady Tuscan. Fett burns the bodies and leaves.
Was Badass Lady dead?
Yeah, all of them.
Yeah, all.
Fett burns the bodies and leaves to take or wake up as he's dragged out of the back of the tank by Black Chrysanthemum. It's a fight. Wookiee versus Mandalorian in his shorty shorts. Also, the Wookiee doesn't play fair. He's got shock knuckles and he bites. Luckily, the Power Rangers show up and they join the fight, which moves from Fett's chamber to the throne room where Fennec and the Gamorreans join in. Fennec activates the Rancor trap and sending Black Chrysanthemum. I want to keep calling him Chrysanthemum. Into the dungeon below. Now to see who's causing all the trouble. After a brief, lavish dinner, Fett laments over his troubles, and he tries to figure out what's really going on.
Why?
We just rewatched it.
I have questions. I have so many questions about this whole damn episode. The Hutt twins, however, show up and say, hey, they're not contesting Fett or for Jabba's Empire. Tatooine is a waste, and there's other interested parties, and they're not going to fight a war over it. So they give Fett with a baby Rancor and a trainer, Danny Trejo.
Machete.
Fett gives them Black Chrysanthemum back, but they're not interested in him. Fett just lets him go. Look, it's only business, no hard feelings. And Fennec gets to say her signature line, are you sure that was a good idea? That's the 5th time she said it, I think. So let's talk about Rancors. First of all, we learned that Rancors are emotionally complex creatures.
No.
They are peaceful unless threatened.
No.
And the Witches of Dathomir are now canon.
Yes.
We're rumored to write them. Fett pets the Rancor and vows to visit more often. They form a strong bond. With their owners. Fett wants to write it. The Rancor trainer removes the Rancor's binder so it can look upon his new owner first and starts to bond, kind of like the end of Twilight.
Oh my god. That was well teed up.
Thank you. Act 3, it's another freaking meeting. So Fennec, Fett, and the Power Rangers go back to the mayor's office. Have an awkward convo with the clerk and the major domo, a la Chapter 2. Fennec threatens the major domo, and he escapes out the back onto a speeder. However, Fett's got the Power Rangers on Vespas, and so he sends the kids after them. And is what the slow speeder chase filled with more cliches than the end of the Blues Brothers. It ends with the major domo crashing a speeder into a crate of Mailorons. Woohoo, Hera! And gives up the mayor's is working for the Pikes. Like, none of us saw that coming. The Pikes arrive on a transport looking for a fight. Fett has the Red Ranger, a guy with a droid eye and his red Vespa. Keep watching, then report back. Looks like Fett's going to be preparing for war. Credits.
This is one of the episodes that could have gone a little longer to kind of
No,
finish.
it's one of the episodes that shouldn't have been in it. There's nothing good out of that episode.
I disagree. There's one.
I think there's a lot of setup.
I think there's two things I like out of this episode. I like the fight with Black Chrysanthemum. I think that was fun.
Sure.
I like the Rancor stuff. I'm all in for Puppy Rancor. I'm all in.
I don't know about Puppy Rancor.
I'm all in for Puppy Rancor, but the rest of it, I'm like,
I think the chase scene and the mayor stuff though was all set up for what's coming up.
My problem though is that the execution was so bad. It was bad. Like I watched it, and was like, am I really watching what I think I'm watching? Because I don't love this show. Mm-hmm. It's very meh for me. It's like there's nothing great about it. Except everything with the Tuscan people.
I like how he looks at me for that. It's like,
because I know you love it.
Oh, yeah.
But like that's literally the only stuff that matters to me, and now that's gone.
Yeah, which
is a real shame.
Even from a lot of people who like the show that I talk to, that they feel the same. Like the Tuscan is the best stuff.
It is unfortunately yet again the same cliche we've had 1,000 times over. It's Dances with Wolves. It is literally Dances with Wolves again, which is Avatar, which is all the same movie.
I shared a meme that was...
And then Lawrence of Arabia.
Sure.
I shared
The Wandering.
the Dances with Banthas, and I got thinking about it. It should be Dances with Mastiffs, because Mastiffs are closer to wolves.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
It's totally true.
But Banthas I'll take. So,
Yeah.
So I rewatched 1 and fell asleep. I rewatched 2 and fell in love with it even more. Because I didn't realize it was a haka the first time. I saw the dance and I was like, oh, that's cool. And then I was like, oh my God.
I got it exactly like
Episode 2 is definitely the best episode so far.
That was good Star Wars content, though. Episode 2.
I liked episode 1, and understanding that episode 1 was set up.
Yeah.
And so I'm okay.
Yeah.
So it gets a pass because it's got to establish something. So it starts to establish.
It created too many questions for me.
Which is fine because they have a whole season to answer questions.
I don't think we're gonna get them.
No, I don't either.
No.
But I'm just talking about my first viewing.
Yeah.
You know, so it's got. Oh, I'm interested to seeing A, B, and C, and they're like, oh, we're not gonna get it our way. No, we're not.
No.
Especially since there's only
3 left.
4.
It's
7 episodes. So 4 more left.
4. Yeah. So
we're good at math here.
No, we're not.
It's not like the rest of the Mando shows. There's not 8 episodes, which is weird. I don't know why they didn't keep that.
I have a lot of issues. Like I love 2 for lots of reasons that I discussed all last week. But it's, even though it's the what is it? The colonist or outsider savior trope, which
it's a hefty one.
It's hefty, and so I have to be careful because realistically, I want to say it's basically the white savior but he's just another color. But the same thing, so it doesn't make it even better.
Right.
Just because he's indigenous doesn't, but he's the different kind of indigenous, so it doesn't quite work. And so when you had an opportunity to take it in a new direction, they just follow the trope. Which you predicted last week, which I didn't think they were going to do. Which kudos to you for that.
The sad part to me is it goes back to reaffirm it is still 3 white guys in charge that are making 3 white guy decisions.
Right.
Yeah,
exactly.
And it's really tragic.
Yeah. Exactly. Right. Yeah. When you have the same type of people in charge, you're going to get the same results.
I'm not saying that, but they chose to follow the easy path instead of, and that's what part of it is frustrating to me is that they didn't take the opportunity to go somewhere different. Instead, and I get the cliche part. The cliche is good. It's a Western. It's a deep Western. This is very spaghetti.
But you could do it different.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
the point.
Yeah.
That's the opportunity they have.
My issue with the entire series is currently that it's more cliche than story.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Big time.
And so, I remember when we were talking about this in My Star Wars Life before the show hit, when they announced the show and announced Robert Rodriguez as the showrunner, I said I can't wait till Danny Trejo shows up because we all know.
Yeah.
And then he showed up, and then I'm kind of like, I'm kind of out of this.
Yeah.
Nothing against Danny Trejo, and I think it's fine that he's a Rancor. I mean, the character stuff.
Yeah. I think
the problem is Danny Trejo is bigger than a movie character now.
Right. So it's
like, oh, it's Danny Trejo.
And he doesn't
not a character.
He doesn't have a name because he doesn't need one because it's Danny Trejo.
Yeah.
So he could technically just be. It could literally be.
And he has like a lot of human space tattoos.
Yeah.
Non-space tattoos.
Right. And so it's just like.
Yeah. I do think it helps so that it's a minor enough role that you can.
Right. I mean.
Whereas if he was a main character, then that'd be a problem, I would think.
Well, we don't know yet if he's going to get more.
No, you're right. You're right. But I assume not with him being just Rancor master.
So the thing that I keep
usually
coming
they
back
don't get big parts.
No, I agree. The thing I keep coming back to is they tee up 1. I give them a pass. 2 is really well made.
Yeah,
Right.
It's a great story. I'm leaning into it. Like watching it again, I was like, I fell in love with it even more. I was like, this is exciting to only have all that taken away, right? And so now he's the white savior, pardon the expression, but he's that savior character that's going to go on. And my theory is he's doing all this. He's doing
to get revenge.
Yeah, the whole thing's a giant revenge plot.
And the Pikes are somehow related to it.
100%. It's going to come down the pipeline, and that's why he doesn't care about Jabba's throne. That seems uncharacteristic of Boba Fett. Maybe he changed in the Sarlacc pit that he was only in for 5 minutes, but seemed like years.
Or his time with the Tuscans.
That's the bigger part.
Yeah.
The shift is from the Tuscans.
Right.
That's why they're showing it to
Right,
us.
which is
but it's
because otherwise they wouldn't show it to us.
Again, I'm all into that. My problem is that, and you alluded to it, but in the second episode, the Tuscans are so mighty.
yeah.
And I get it that they had a way of life and they needed someone to show them that to step out of their comfort zone and get.
But then because they were there was different. He says it. There's different factions.
but
And they were very peaceful.
Right, but I'm talking about
Like,
this.
just
I'm
normal.
talking about this particular faction.
right.
Clearly, they had their war because
They still knew how to
The
fight
Wonder Woman
and
chick is
take care.
amazing.
Yeah,
She's ridiculous.
Right.
And kill that character wasted like one of the greatest Star Wars characters I've seen in
and
years.
it's like but it undermines everything that you did in a whole episode.
Yep.
And what is literally an off-scene death, which isn't good for any.
That's why. Are you sure you saw her body? I know you saw the Chief's body.
Yeah.
But are you sure it's her body? Because I know it's his body. I
'Cause
know
you're-
it's the Chief because I looked because the spear's right there.
Right.
I think she's still alive. I think they're good because if you give me Boba Fett and his little, I mean, drop the Power Rangers. They can be Expendables. You give me Boba Fett, Fennec, and then whatever
Tusken Raider lady?
Tusken Raider.
Yeah.
Like that is cinematic.
her name is
awesome.
Tusken Warrior. Is what
Yeah.
they've called her in
Tusken Warrior,
credits. In credits.
Well,
But
I'm glad to see
'cause,
Raiders getting
I mean,
dropped.
yeah.
It's interesting that they're
I'm
so
glad
dropping.
in the first episode we asked if
Yeah.
I asked what Tuscans want to be called. Tuscans are Sand People. Is there another name? And according to the second episode, they're Tuscans.
because you're gonna,
Which is great.
Which is fine with me.
But yeah, what the third episode is telling me is one, they were able to take down the Pikes with Boba Fett in episode 2, but they couldn't handle some
They better have a Death Star on those swoops.
like the Clatoonians or whatever.
Well, I don't know.
Because that's
I don't know.
Or the Nikto rather, the Nikto because that
Unless
suit
it's
came.
not, and that's what you're getting set up.
Unless it's not just the Nikto, which
It's made to
we've
look like sand people.
Which we've made the prediction.
God, that's
in the
racist
first
now.
in the first episode we talked
you missed
about
the first episode. I went off on it.
yeah. In the first episode, we talked about how the symbol that the Nikto are leaving looks a lot like the new Emilia Clarke's Crimson Dawn Syndicate. It looks like the new symbol that they use because they're being brought back in the comics.
Right. So this is what, again, this is the problem about liking a fandom because you get up too much in your headcanon, and then when they do a weird turn, doesn't and part of it's on me, but then again I'm like, well, why'd you give me this when you could have it would have been amazing if off that land speeder is Emily Clark walking down.
Yeah.
That's intriguing more than Pikes, who we don't really know nor care. We have no investment.
Yeah, and we kind of just don't like because the scene before we realized, it's their fault that the characters we do like are dead.
Right. So it's just like, here, we don't like Pikes. Okay, we don't like Pikes. They're telling us we don't like Pikes. Okay, I'm fine with not liking Pikes. But again, these are faceless guys. None of them have real names.
Yeah.
And so I don't know them. And there's no identity. But, you open the door and here comes Crimson Dawn. Oh, now that's a real threat that I'm familiar with.
Right.
And
unless the Pikes are working for them and they're waiting to hold that.
And it's not even,
but why would you hold it that long?
And let's say Emily Clark doesn't want to be in Star Wars, which I think she's happy to take a paycheck.
Yeah.
Because she's tanked because of all of her other projects.
Right.
Tanked.
So
she screwed up as whatever her name was, Dragon Lady,
the Mother of Dragons,
Mother of Dragon, Targaryen,
Targaryen.
Whatever. Either way, Tar. It's weather.
And so just something interesting. I don't think the Pikes were interesting. I just also predictable because it was like a whole episode of George. We've had 2 episodes of Pikes.
Yeah,
it's like okay.
And the Pikes can only be so interesting by themselves.
I was having a conversation with someone where there is this show is a lot of setup for. So I think part of what's happened is we have the tremendous success of The Mandalorian. I don't think Disney was ready for especially the Baby Yoda thing. Disney definitely wasn't ready. They didn't have merch ready.
No, they didn't have merch.
They weren't. If Disney knows they're going to have a hit, they already have the merch.
Yep,
that's how they've been forever. So I think that
the reason why they didn't have merch is because they were so secretive.
I know, but I still think they could have.
You can't.
They could have rolled it out. It took
there's no way in today's modern world that you can.
Yeah, because Hasbro leaks happen almost every day.
But it was a very long rollout.
Toy guy, yeah, they're leaking all the damn places. They're worse than a diaper.
It was a long. I don't think they were ready for the success rate that it actually was. I don't. Think
Maybe it was a combo of the two. But
so point being, I think now what we're getting with the Book of Boba Fett, instead of it being what it should have been, in my opinion, which is a deep cut into this new lore. Right, this new world we're still getting spoon fed, because I think they're still spoon feeding people that have no idea, that haven't watched Star Wars in forever. But like, I know more people that watch The Mandalorian but have never seen 7, 8, and 9, or 7 and 9.
Yeah,
I almost wore my Rise of Skywalker shirt. I almost did.
No, that's like trolling.
I almost did. I was like, no, it's okay. I went with Kanan and Hera.
But anyway, I think that's why a lot of the stuff is like really blandly spoon feeding some of these pieces in, like the Pikes, like they're generic.
I think it's also
to somebody else they may not realize they're from Solo. They may not think about that kind of stuff.
I mean, also not even just movie watching. It's helping guide people who don't read the comics like me, who's Black Chrysanthemum. You know, they got to kind of show us who that is.
I mean, I wouldn't looked it up.
And I like,
but not everybody does that. I would say 50% of people look up afterwards.
They just be like, look, they'll probably say, look at the black Chewbacca.
Right.
Yeah.
Or in the original script for the original comic, when they introduced Black Chrysanthemum, they called him Nobaka before they named him. And so I just want to be called. He's now just Nobaka. Nobaka.
Yeah. But I mean, yeah.
I don't know.
I don't think this episode was horrible by any means.
I think way less people also look stuff up. I think most people don't have time nor care. They'll just watch it like, I'm entertained, and then they're all.
Maybe they'll watch a video explainer.
Younger kids will. Like, our generation don't. We don't have time for that shit.
Moving on.
Jods and kids and stuff. It's like, oh, look, ew, evil Chewbacca.
My second watch was sitting by. I literally watched it sitting by a fire with a whiskey.
Yeah.
Like, it was very cowboy of episode 2. I will not be doing that tonight. I will not be watching a second version of this particular one.
I didn't think this one was horrible by any means, but it wasn't good. It wasn't on the same standard of the rest of the episodes.
Yeah, I guess my thing is I'm now a little disappointed in their storytelling. So once I get down on, and this is the Larry David part, once I get it in my head, then I'm like, they got to win me back. Yeah. So they're gonna have to work really hard, and it's not that I'll be like not watching it. Yes,
you're gonna watch it, but you're gonna have your expectations now.
It's much lower, than where it was. The Power Ranger scene, that chase scene is so badly made.
It's terrible.
I couldn't actually understand what I was seeing.
Like, I like the concept of the vehicles, but that chase scene was not
speeders.
great.
And at the end of the day, they're speeders. He's in
but they were all identical.
That's fine. He's in a speeder. They're in speeders too. The key word in speeder is the word speed.
Yeah.
There's no speed in this. It's like the OJ chase. And it's just like, and we're just like helicopters going by and just like, we're gonna and instead of having speed, which would, I mean, seriously, it should have been Fast and Furious all through the desert. Yeah, it should have been Fast and Furious. Instead, we get this slow speed chase, and they're like, we'll just throw cliches. We'll have them run into fruit carts and
have them run through paintings
that Ralph McQuarrie did, and just which is. I'm okay with that. I'm a fan. I like Easter eggs, but again, I like a story.
Yeah,
and it's missing that part.
It was so long and slow, and the chase, the chase sequence on in episode 2 of taking over the train, which blew the other train heist from the other
Solo. Solo had the train heist too.
Yeah, but so did the Mandalorian episode with Bill Burr.
Oh yeah,
that I hated. If you remember, I wasn't a big fan of that. Remember, he gets up there and he just beats up everybody. Mando's on.
That's the caravan thing.
Same guy. Same Stagecoach. I'm sorry, that was a stagecoach, and now we have a train.
Yeah.
But the train sequence in 2 was fantastic. This should have been all of that equal.
Yep.
But not.
No.
Not even close. And the fact that, I guess what bothered me is you have these 4 unique characters that all have one unique cybernetic doodad, like the stupid eye joke, which was terrible.
Right, not needed. Why? No. Favreau thought it was funny, and it's just like,
but that was like the opening of Last Jedi funny to me.
It's not even funny.
Awful.
It's not even funny.
It's offensive. It should be burned and scourged from the universe. Gone forever. Kill Ryan Johnson. I'm sorry.
I'm okay with humor in Star Wars too, because I think that's what I like about the Rancor scene. It's funny, it's cute.
When the humor is relevant to the world they're in, but it's like the Last Jedi and the eyeball joke are the same to me.
Right.
Because it was a your mama joke and a disability joke.
Right.
Not Star Wars related.
Which not even just.
Which I don't think even nothing could save the joke in this episode on that one.
No, it was bad.
Like
Just
I'm
bad
okay
writing.
I'm okay with the Last Jedi one, but this one was
Yeah, but it's like
a
space
different
calling
tier.
your mom. I mean, that's what it was.
But
it was bad.
Yeah.
Anyway, the eyeball was another issue I had with it. But the chase back to my real problem was you have these 4 unique attempts at 4 unique characters. That's Disney's, and this is where I get offended. This is why I was making a joke earlier. That was their attempt at like putting in a diverse chunk. They were like, grab 4 random characters. If you notice, they were all of different spaces. Throw those 4 random. You had a whole group of people you could have played with and done something really unique with. But instead, you stack these 4 in that are just going to get wasted, not used very well. There's going to be no character development. So now it's just like you're checking a box.
Right.
Like, oh, the diversity box is checked, which is from commercial making that I do for a living. When a client's like, yeah, make it diverse. That means they want 4 black people in the background. Good. Got it. That's what they gave them. We got 4 black people in the background. And that's who those 4 characters are. It's stupid. But and I'm tired of being insulted by it. But build a character out of it.
What's bad about it? It's Earth diverse, not Star Wars.
Exactly right.
It's not Star Wars diverse.
Exactly right.
Because I like make it diverse, but don't like it cost any money. So let's just stick. We'll glue some stuff on some human beings. But we're not going to have an Aqualish back there. We're not going to have a Trandoshan back there. We're not going to have
we're not going to make it interesting.
We're not going to be interesting, right? We're just because that
would cost
elevate
money. Anything else in the background.
No Rhodians.
And you could honestly get away with both because you could cast diverse while also making it alien diverse in Star Wars.
It's exactly right. So then, for me, all 4 of them have speeders. All 4 of them agree to work for Boba Fett just instantly with no problem. Yeah, sure. We're in the working district. We'll come work for you. I mean, none of it makes sense.
Even after they just ripped into him about how he's just not.
It makes no sense.
Yeah.
So here's my biggest nitpick about the thing that makes no sense. The Vespas.
Yeah.
Make no sense. They're awfully clean for Tatooine.
That's what I'm saying. They were all the same.
Right, but they're clean.
Yeah, shiny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In a desert planet with very little water.
Yeah.
So are they stealing the water to wash their...
Unless Boba Fett allegedly bought those for him. So part of they're like, hey, we really want to be a Vespa gang. And he's like...
Well, they had the Vespas.
They already had the bikes.
Vespas when he got hired. They got hired.
Yeah.
They had the bike.
Maybe he cleaned them.
But they were already clean.
Yeah.
Dang it.
I'm just like... I literally, I saw that. I was like...
Bad.
This doesn't fit.
Like I could see those bikes maybe on Coruscant.
Any other planet besides Tatooine.
Yeah.
Like I didn't like the design, but not here.
Like the design.
I didn't like that. They were they're dated looking. They almost look like from Naboo.
That's the Rodriguez in it of it all.
I want cool motorcycles or cool scooters. I'm okay with it. I just don't think these were the
location or the
look was kind of off. They don't the effects of them flying is totally terrible.
So I have a theory.
Which is absurd to me because it's ILM. Like these are these special effects guys. If anyone can make anything look good. Again, it's almost to me like in the movie that shall not be mentioned with Leia, Mary Poppins her way in After Effects. They took a still of her and did 2 keyframes and moved her one way. Yeah, and that's how that happened.
No wiggle.
And that was my complaint about it. Is that I'm okay with her surviving it. I'm not okay with how terrible it looked.
Yeah, I'm with you.
That's my biggest complaint about it. It's like it looked like I did it.
My theory on the chase is that chase was not done. The reason it didn't work visually is it wasn't done traditionally. I'm wondering if they attempted to do a chase sequence completely using the volume, which would make sense why things look so slow because they couldn't you have a motion, an object in motion, right? And so lensing wise, if you want something to feel like it's coming fast towards you, you have a long lens pointed towards it.
And if you want it
to feel it coming past you, you take a wide angle lens and you whip past it. They can't do that on the volume per se in the same ways.
Might also be why speed couldn't.
It gets lost, right? It's not really happening. So that's my theory. Because it looks so bad.
But again, if it doesn't work, you cut it. You do something else.
Unless budget.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean. Okay. Yes, I understand that each of these episodes
because the volume is almost all replaced.
Right.
I don't know if I broke that last time or not, but at least according to my people,
look,
they're rotoscoping a lot.
I understand that every episode has a budget, But then again, if they want, like, we need more money, they're going to get more money. Yeah. It's not like they're like, we need this to do that. Okay, fine, you get more money.
Also, the length of stuff makes a difference.
It's like, we'll just grab toys sales and here, you can have that money.
Well, so Tusken scenes, really cheap.
Right.
Yeah.
Really cheap.
Right.
Yeah.
Right? Those don't even have to be actors.
Yeah.
They're extras.
Right.
Because they don't say anything.
Right.
Yeah.
So those sequences really cheap. So you can have, this is like why I hate what I do for a living and love it at the same time. That's why you can have a 52-minute episode.
Right.
Whatever, 48 after pre-credit.
Yeah.
Whatever. And then this one's what, 30?
Yeah.
Just under 30?
It was just under 30
Because it has
before
a
credits.
whole bunch more people that talk on screen.
Right.
And, I mean, you can see the budget's starting to rise and do all that stuff. And so that shift happens and goes that route.
Yeah.
So I think, to your point, yes, they could have spent more money, but I'm wondering how capped they might actually be on it for what might be coming down the pipeline.
Yeah.
The pipeline.
There'll be a lot hour-long episodes of just faceless, nameless extra pikes. Not
yes, they talk like this. Hello.
They're all Philomar. It's
so dumb.
I really wanted to like. I would have. This would have been like this would have been up there with the prison episode from the first season of Mandalorian.
But see, I still even that had more merit than this.
And then or the Gunslinger one because I don't like it either. But
yeah, we got Fennec.
Yeah, but sort of. Yeah, and then Fennec's been more interesting since we've got her. I'm glad we have. I'm glad to introduce Fennec, but but if this didn't have the Rancor scene, I would pretty much been out.
Yeah, can we talk through that? Because you guys know canon way more than I do. I didn't realize the Witches of Dathomir were not canon.
They are.
The witches are. The witches
because technically the Night Sisters are.
Yeah, the Night Sisters are the Witches of Dathomir, so they're canon.
Yeah.
The whole them riding the Rancor stuff hasn't been canon.
Wasn't in Jedi Order?
No, you could find Rancors there and fight them, but like nobody rode them.
Right.
Okay.
And so
it's been a while since I played that game.
So, even I mean, I would call it like canon light.
Yeah,
because the way he says it, there are legends of this, which is kind of how I think like the Legends universe should be used.
Yeah.
If you're going to use it in canon,
which is what they've said from the beginning. That's how we're supposed to perceive Legends material, but they haven't really used it that way.
And so that's a great example of this. So now you could be like, well, they could be riding, or they couldn't be, but I want to believe that they do ride it, especially like. This better end with like Fett riding the baby Rancor,
right?
And
but don't you feel like that's a little bit like what was that Iron Sky movie where you have Hitler riding a Tyrannosaurus?
I'm okay with that.
Maybe they're setting it up because like they've set up for 2 episodes in the past about how everybody's like, oh, he doesn't come in on this like on the being carried. So maybe this is his version of being carried. And
I want to bring this up again. I brought this up last, and since I've got you here for this, before we'll get back into the Rancor thing. All right, so I understand you don't want to be carried on a litter, but
maybe it's because it's called.
Sorry, I know where he's going with this
because I mentioned it last week, but since I got you here, Drew, this week, why did Fett and Fennec walk everywhere? Like, don't you think like Jabba's palace is like way far from everyone else?
Like episode 1, we pulled up a map. It's
crazy far, and so it was like we're just gonna walk. It's like, can't you just speed to the town, then walk in the town?
Well, it's weird. It's back to Star Wars where time is a really strange thing because he rode a bantha which walks real slow,
right?
And he gets places pretty quick.
Right. Well, I just
like never-ending story where you don't see it and it goes.
I just figured that like that the Tusken village was like just right down the street from the town.
Yeah. Right.
To be fair, Star Wars has never been great when it comes to travel time.
Absolutely, it's just.
But it's an easy solution. Because later on in this same episode, Boba Fett just pops in with a jetpack. He's like, hello, and that's the end of it, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So it's like there's a simple solution, but they do instead. It's just constant.
But Star Wars has never been great with it, even in the original.
That's a Western motif.
Yeah.
It's just the walking is a Western motif.
I get it, but it doesn't.
Need a horse.
But it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, he needs a horse. Yeah.
Well, he had a horse robbery scene. He stole the swoop bikes. That's horses.
Yeah.
Yep. He even
does
a little ride on them.
Bring that back. Ride swoops. Get on the back of the Vespas.
We have Vespas instead of swoops now.
God.
Yeah, our Power Ranger gang is Italian. Ciao.
I'm also so Rancor wise.
Back to Rancors.
So he introduces it, and how much lore has been built up on that before? That's canon. Very little.
Very little.
Very
so
little.
this is all.
This is all building what is the foundation.
Like
of
the closest we got to like a little bit of info was in Aftermath with like the previous Rancor and the Rancor
Maliki.
trainer. Yeah, Maliki.
But there was I actually saw a fan film that was fun of watching Maliki find the Rancor and befriend it and all that. Way pre this stuff. So I do think it's fascinating that they pulled some of that stuff in. It just feels like they're going to try and make Rancors cute, cuddly.
I think
because the show doesn't have a baby Yoda.
I think we're still going to get to see the Rancor do some damage.
Or an Amiga.
Yeah.
I think
Amiga. Yeah. So far, they haven't adopted a child like they do in most stuff.
I almost half expected to see the Tusken kid live, and so they'd be like, "Oh, look, it's our Ezra," and so, but didn't happen. So
I still think there's pieces missing from that. That there's a group somewhere.
Yeah.
I don't think they're all dead. I think the majority of them died, but I think some of them.
Yeah, I'd like to see survivors.
Maybe some of them joined. Maybe some of them went off to be parts of different Tusken tribes that are out there. Because there's other.
I mean, if they're following. And pardon my ignorance if I'm way off, but if they're following using a Native American culture pattern, when tribalism was very tribalistic, was it not?
It was, but there's families and offshoots, so and not every tribe's warring with each other, so assimilation happens.
Okay. So then maybe we do get that sort of vibe from it, but it just seems very fascinating to me that I don't think they would. It seems like a huge setup to kill off an entire group. Kill off key characters, yes, but kill off an entire group. So yeah, maybe we do get that back. And then it's a cool poster to have Boba Fett with a jetpack riding on the back of a Rancor with Fennec and a kick-butt sniper rifle alongside a Tusken female warrior that maybe is carrying the little one on his shoulders like Master Blaster.
Well, they burn the kid's stick, so I assume he's dead too. Because they made a point to show off.
He just dropped it.
Maybe he just dropped it. He just dropped his stick.
He
dropped his stick.
But I think we'll still get to see Rancor do damage. It's just going to be. It's just going to be that between Boba Fett and the Rancor, it's going to be amicable.
But it's also weird that he even says clearly he doesn't want to be. He doesn't want to be like Jabba, right?
Correct.
And he definitely doesn't want to be like Bib Fortuna because
Bib kind of messed it all up.
Yeah, but he doesn't want to feed anybody to the Rancor. He's like, go get a carcass or whatever he says.
Yeah,
and kind of goes down that path, which is cool, is fine, is whatever.
Right. He also doesn't have anybody to feed to the Rancor right now, anyway.
Yeah, but I mean, he probably. I'm just saying, he probably. He didn't.
He's yet to kind of show his
not
strength.
Killing a lot of people for Boba Fett.
For character.
I mean, how many people has Boba Fett killed
in canon?
0.
Well, that's in movies. In comics, maybe a few people.
Yeah, so he's not really the murderer type.
Well, I understand, but you're setting him up to be now he's a crime boss. Yeah, over that. That's what I'm saying is the shift on it, and so I think there's a tonality that's kind of strange to me. That either it's setting up for something, which is what I believe it to be, or it's just really kind of misguided. Rodriguez is really bad about doing.
I'm pretty sure.
Otto great. The rest of them terrible.
I'm pretty sure the last episode is going to be the ending scene of The Godfather, where Fett's going to be in some ceremony where he looks like he's innocent and all his enemies are murdered. Because Fennec is going around the Tusken lady or whatever, the Rancor's eating people. It's all going to be like that.
Because in a way, I get going with The Godfather. He's kind of like Michael in the early parts of The Godfather, where Michael's like, I don't want anything to do with this. You do the bad stuff. I don't want to know.
But he's still taking the tributes, though. Fett still takes the tributes. He wants his tribute. He's still playing.
But he's like that part of Michael where he's like, I don't want to do the actual what it takes to have this money.
He's actually more Michael at the end of the first Godfather, where he's planning the move to Vegas, and so he's trying to make the family legitimate, but still trying to make earn some income. So that's where he's at. He's just again bad at it, which is fine. Which
that's why Fennec's
however, which makes no sense to me because again,
they better have a flashback explaining their relationship to me because I don't understand why Fennec's still hanging around him.
Well, saved her life, so she's like a Wookiee as a life debt. I struggle with this, and this is my baggage, but I grew up with wanting Boba Fett to be a badass. Mm-hmm. Because he looked cool in the armor, and at the end of the day, you have to be honest with yourself that he's a glorified UPS man. He takes a chocolate bar from Bespin to give to a fat guy on Tatooine.
Yeah, fair enough.
And that's all he does.
Yeah.
And then he gets eaten by a sand vagina, and that's basically his story arc.
He also does it
How long is he in there, by the way?
Like 5 minutes in the entire trilogy.
Yeah.
He's not.
And
Like,
No. How long is he in? Is he in the Sarlacc pit?
We thought of
We
like,
don't.
we talked about it in the first episode. We said it was like about a day or two. He wasn't in there very long enough for his cape and his Wookiee scalps to dissolve.
Yeah.
But he was,
and also need to borrow that stormtrooper's oxygen because his oxygen was bad.
so not very long.
Yeah, I mean, the
'Cause
wreckage is in the background.
Yeah, right. And
It's not smoking anymore,
Right,
but it's back there.
It's back there.
Yeah, which means we're not looking at
I
months
have a
or
tough time
years.
trying to understand why he can
Again,
live
Star Wars
with the
and stars.
Tusken perfectly
Stars and time.
fine, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's great, but now he's constantly got to be in the bathtub.
Well, I've said that on top of being in the Sarlacc, I think it's also the years of bounty hunting that's done damage too. Because
But he didn't need it with the Tuskens.
So here's what I think it is, and no one's really talking about it. I think it's clone degradation.
Oh, no, that's interesting.
That was something you brought up.
I think it's clone degradation, and he was supposed to be an unaltered clone. But how good are the Caminos cloning?
Because we know
That
even at
solves
their,
it. If that's the case, that's
because we
great.
know even at their best, we still ended up with the Bad Batch.
Because it also explains why
That's a good point.
Fett looks older than he should be.
Yeah.
Because Tamar Morrison's way older than what Fett should be at this time period.
Yeah.
And so clone degradation takes care of all that. So you give him but you got to explain it sooner or later. We're 3 episodes in, and it was like, and
Unless we're getting season 2, you got to explain.
Yeah, but I still think
And even if you are getting season
you still
2,
need to
explain.
button it up because there's some things that like Mando did a very good job in season 1 of closing out a lot of things.
Yeah.
Right, and then opening new doors in other pieces. They still need to do that for Book of Boba Fett, and I think this is going to end up being a one-off.
I think it is too,
it'll close out, and he'll just
especially since
maybe become some
even
other
people
series.
who like it haven't been enthusiastic about it either.
I haven't met a Star Wars fan that loves it. They're all like,
Yeah.
they like pieces.
I'm better than meh. I like it. I'm still excited to see.
Yeah, I'm not quite at meh
I am
either.
too. I wake up and I watch the show.
It's the first thing I watch. So if I didn't care for it, I wouldn't do it.
I
Yeah.
just don't lean into it as much as I find myself not asking as many questions and intrigued by
But
the
I mean,
characters as I do.
to be honestly, I haven't leaned into anything new Star Wars since Rebels. I mean, Rebels, I leaned in hard, and I like Mandalorian. I do. I enjoy the hell out of it. But do I like it as much as Rebels? No.
So
do I like Bad Batch? I'm really enjoying Bad Batch.
I enjoyed Bad Batch.
but
Yeah.
I'm not enjoying it as much as I love Rebels. And I'm okay. That's okay.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
I'm simply saying from my perspective, it's more a matter of like the quality of the storytelling, right? From Rebels to Mando is totally different,
Right.
But there are similar elements involved,
Right.
You can feel the Filoni,
Yeah.
right?
You can. Yeah.
I don't feel a lot of Filoni in this. I know he's there, but I don't.
He's not. I don't think he is.
I think
he's.
I think he's there.
I think it's more.
No.
Because it's more Favreau's show.
So according to the cinematographer who Dave Klein,
Yep.
who shot Clerks,
Yep.
he was on Kevin Smith's podcast last week, and he says Filoni's there. So
I don't think Filoni's leading the charge on.
I don't think but I don't think he was leading the charge either on Mandalorian either. It's Favreau's show.
It's Favreau's.
I think
I think Filoni had a stronger voice in Mandalorian because Favreau needed that guidance. I think now that he's gotten comfortable, I don't think he wants.
I think Jon Favreau is a brand name, and Dave Filoni is not.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so Jon Favreau gets a lot more credit because it's easier. He's a brand name. It's easier
right.
to put him forward. Filoni means like if we were told you have a chance to meet Jon Favreau or Dave Filoni.
Dave Filoni.
Right. You're a Star Wars fan. You're not going to think twice. All of us are Dave Filoni, right?
Yeah.
We want the hat.
Right. We want that. Bring us the hat.
Majority of people on planet Earth, they don't know who Dave Filoni
Yeah,
is.
no,
right?
no.
Absolutely.
So that's what I'm saying.
They might
I
even
think
pick
Filoni-
Rodriguez over Filoni.
Yeah, I think well, a lot of people know who Rodriguez.
But that's what I'm saying, yeah.
He's kind of not.
Yeah, he's
The
just wanna
chase
talk
felt
duck.
very Spy Kids.
Oh, the whole
I've
episode.
been rewatching this with my kids.
The whole episode seems very Spy Kids. It's,
And I guess that's
why I
why
said it's
I'm
the most Robert Rodriguez episode of.
It might be why I'm not hating it as much. I grew up on.
Right, that is definitely your generation.
I grew up with Spy Kids, and
I just sold
like
that crap
'em.
at Suncoast.
and I like them up to 3. 3's the last one that I like, and then
And Shark Boy and Lava Girl.
Shark Boy and Lava Girl. Even then, that was much for me.
Did you see the
I saw
new one?
I have not. I've seen bits and pieces.
because he did. They brought him back like all as adults or something.
Yeah, which they didn't even bring everybody back because Taylor Lautner was for some reason not in the film as Shark Boy, but Shark Boy was in it.
Oh, interesting.
Taylor, did they not ask Taylor, or does Taylor was like, I'm?
But he was like, no, I'm done.
Yeah, he was like, no, I got Twilight money and I didn't like that, and I'm not coming back for this.
If we didn't have fun, I get it.
I think
he's not super solid. He's got his bod.
Well, yeah, he's one of those that's probably like, I'm too serious to be in that again.
Maybe.
I feel like that's the vibe I get from him.
Robert Pattinson, who's the Batman.
The rated R trailer for that one or whatever it is.
The rated R trailer for a PG-13 movie.
Yeah.
It's whatever the newest trailer was that they dropped for it. I called it the rated R trailer because that's what it felt like.
Yeah.
That is the best looking Batman crap I've seen in a
Oh
long
yeah,
time.
they had me.
But it's Dark Knight. It's real Dark Knight. Like,
they had me. They had me.
Yeah.
But they had
I'm
me.
also,
and he looks good.
At the same time, while I'm excited for it, I'm also kind of done with grounded DC films. Can we just have fun DC films again?
No, you can watch The Peacemaker. If you want fun, go watch The Peacemaker.
I have not seen it yet. I hear it's great.
The opening title sequence alone is cool.
Like, honestly, I'd be.
So by the time this episode's out, I should have
like
watched
at this point, I'd rather have Adam West Batman stuff again and over what we're getting.
My thing is that Batman side note is just the one thing about the Batman project that looks interesting to me is that I felt like the other ones were always forced to be super dark and gritty, and the approach was like, hey, we're going to be gritty from the beginning.
Well, I don't know.
It makes 7.
I don't know.
That's something that prior to you being of age, like that world, we all wanted a Batman set in the 7 universe. Like everybody growing up wanted that 90s grunge Batman.
I just don't know how I feel about the Riddler's new look.
It doesn't bother me.
I was in where there's the hallway scene where he's beating the crap out of everyone. And he's just
that was a good scene. Yeah,
he's taking machine gun hits, and I'm like, this is my Batman.
Which I have friends that are like really hardcore comic fans. Like, why is he getting shots like that? I'm like, because of the armor.
He's Batman. Duh.
Oh, it looks like he uses a gun in this as well, which is interesting if they tease that.
Which
old school Batman did.
Yeah, technically, the whole gun rule with Batman is something that modern fans have come up with.
Yeah.
So I'm okay
his thing was no killing, not no guns.
Yeah.
Which even that he broke in the early days. Like Ra's al Ghul, he killed his first time meeting him before he knew Ra's could come back.
Yeah, that's right. You're right. That was a sidebar.
Yeah, big sidebar.
But I was all in on Robert Pattinson after I saw Tenet.
Yeah.
Oh, big time.
Yeah, he's the best part of Tenet.
He's great.
And
Kristen Stewart's not terrible. I watched the underwater movie. It wasn't so bad.
No,
that's definitely a Catacombs movie,
but
it was not so bad.
It's one of those things that going into Star Wars, sometimes the director's the problem, which is
it's 100% the case of one certain.
Well, it's in the case of the prequels for sure with Hayden. I mean, Hayden's a good actor outside of that.
I think there's a lot more. I mean, yes, I'm sure there's some directorial. George is not a great director, but I definitely feel like there's some just really bad acting decisions made too, though.
Boy, he's got a terrible script to work with too.
Well, also when you're still new to the scene, which Hayden was, and so was Natalie. And
Natalie wasn't that new.
And Natalie been doing it since
Natalie's been doing some hardcore,
but she was like
drama.
But she
did the professional
when she was little.
Yeah, which is
but she was like still young and new to the scene in relative regard to the rest of their castmates. Like they had Samuel L. Jackson, Ewan McGregor, and a ton of other Liam Neeson, people who had been in the business way longer. And you have a director that's not good with his actors and doesn't know how to communicate what he wants
with human beings, just
in general.
Well, part of what I think George ran into, which is what we've seen improve in Star Wars.
Yes,
back to even this show. Is that George was very much a technical director,
yep.
So he would be like, okay, so there's going to be a laser thing. He would say all
he knows what he wants
but he wouldn't say what's the emotion of the scene. That's why Star Wars is pretty emotionless. What really makes Star Wars work, that even the
it's the world building
4, 5, 6. It's not the world building at all. It's actually John Williams' music. If you strip that out, you suddenly lose the heart of the. It's kind of like which is what Harrison Ford has always had an issue with, right?
Yeah.
You go back
because even in the new ones, if you take out any of the lines and any of that, you watch it with just the music.
Right.
It's also why Empire works.
Last Jedi.
Well, I think Last Jedi is the most beautiful with its music by itself. Take out that's why there's a version of Last Jedi that's just the music and no dialogue.
It's still, I can't get past it.
I'm a boy with a broom.
Yeah.
which is not even a problem I have with.
No.
Have you discussed the Doomcock rumors going on that are pretty hardcore that this is all getting retconned in Ahsoka?
No, I don't believe it because I tell you why. First of all,
he's 50-50.
Well, here's
50-50.
Here's the 50 he's wrong with. Okay, here's the problem with that. Disney has doubled down so hard. The hotel debacle is sequel.
Oof.
Is a sequel trilogy.
Which it doesn't look sequel trilogy even to me. I'm like that,
but
doesn't
it's sequel trilogy. The Batuland sequel trilogy.
Yep.
And they're double down. First Order, the whole thing. They're double down. Double down.
I think they might try and retcon if they're going to do anything. I think they're going to try and retcon. They might be able to salvage the world space, but maybe retcon sort of the. I don't know.
No, because
maybe it's wishful.
I think it's also I also think retconning in that way just doesn't feel Star Wars like to completely undo that because then we
Star Wars
but then we start to go down
7 feels like Star Wars because it's a New Hope redone.
But then we start to go
Fair
down
enough.
Then we start
8,
to go
9 don't feel like Star Wars.
But then we start to go down the idea of okay, well then do we retcon every bad Star Wars film that the internet hated? Do we start to look at the prequels too?
No, prequels are loved now. They're good.
But they weren't.
But they are now.
No,
that doesn't
now.
Doesn't matter though.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
Then should we wait 10? Then should we wait 10 years?
No, get rid of them now.
No, because then we're not giving them the same.
I still can't believe you like The Last Jedi. And I'm trying to figure out why. I can't get it.
I struggle with it, and I probably get into more debates with people discussing that situation than I do politics or anything else. Anything relevant to life, I can talk about lots of different stuff, but we inevitably end up on why The Last Jedi is the worst movie ever made.
And it's not the worst movie ever made. There's a lot of other.
There's some bad.
We do a whole other podcast about terrible movies.
Those embrace their terribleness, right?
No, we embrace their terribleness.
Fair enough.
I mean, like Nemesis. We did Nemesis as a second episode of the Catacombs. That movie's Jim Cotta. Terrible movie.
No, Jim Cotta's gold. Listen,
not a bad scene in it.
As soon as that's the name of the next podcast. No bad scene. If I get a pommel horse sequence anywhere in the Book of Boba Fett, I'll retcon everything I said. And I'll call it the greatest show ever made.
Fair enough. I don't know. I can't get off The Last Jedi now, and I don't want to make him mad because I know you like it, but it's just like.
Well, I'm not getting mad. Like I think it's fine to hear what you guys think.
Just fundamentally, and I beat this horse to death, we both have. Still, I'm so emotionally charged. Like, there's a damn chase in space that makes no fucking sense.
Right.
Make it make sense for me. Help me understand why that whole thing is necessary, B relevant, and outside to buy our heroes a chance to go to Bespin 2
but it's the plot.
Around.
But that's the plot. I mean, to argue against the reason that why does the plot exist is what you're asking.
That's what I'm asking. That's.
But then why does any plot exist?
Yeah, but
there's some plots better than others.
They could have literally done
anything.
So
because
you interrupted me with that. That's fantastic.
Yeah. But I mean,
literally, I'm trying to finish anything.
Here's my point.
Yeah.
Here's my point. The most interesting thing in the entire film, to my opinion, is the shit that's going on with Maz Kanata. When they call her in, it's like, hey, we need your help. And she's in the middle of some sort of crazy, wacky adventure going, why are we watching this? Because I'm more interested in what's going on in the hologram than I'm watching the slowest. Like, I thought the Vespa chase we just had was slow, but it's still not as slow as
maybe this is an homage to it.
Oh, like that does. It's a terrible plot device.
So my bigger complaints. If I as a professional director, as a filmmaker, right? I've never
with 5 films under you, right?
Right. A total of maybe $15 million I've ever had money to play with. So not even close to Rian Johnson's debacle money. The issue I have is just the fundamentals of storytelling are really flawed in that movie, right? There's a major issue. There is a chase sequence that doesn't lead to any sort of payoff. It's a setup for a MacGuffin that goes nowhere. When in desperation, they're going to that one planet, right? They're going to Crate.
Well,
why not just go to Crate? Why not just...
Because the film is about failure.
I understand, but you can have that great failure in a much better scene and a much better setup that way, at least showing us some level of progression. So as we chase failure, which is what they're doing, as we continue to chase failure, you're not setting up anyone to have a chance to rise up to do anything different. Instead, all you're doing is stacking negatives on top of it.
I'd argue they set up Finn's storyline.
Oh, I completely disagree, and here's why. That is the most offensive possible thing. Not you're saying it, but the most offensive thing that Disney has done in terms of their agenda to push diversity through stuff is to take two characters who represent a very wonderful change inside of the Star Wars universe and literally waste them on a story that no one even likes. Nobody likes it. So you throw it has no purpose, no plot, and it's literally shoehorned in so that they can say, hey, we went to another planet. It doesn't pay off anywhere. Where's it pay off? Rose doesn't kiss him. She's not in the movie.
That part doesn't matter. It's in that film, the plot. Okay.
Go for it.
Okay, so in episode 7, Finn only cares about getting away from the First Order. Doesn't matter why, right? He does not know to fight for anything. Learns to fight for Rey.
Yep.
8. His new journey now is to learn to fight for something more than just Rey. And for greater good. DJ is there to be a foil for him on the, you just shouldn't care because nobody cares.
Right.
And then Rose is there to be the foil for him as well. We go to, now I lost the name of,
Canto Bight.
Thank you. We go to Canto Bight, so that way
to Electric Boogaloo.
So that way they can see the evils of not caring, to see DJ's side of it. What happens when everybody thinks like DJ?
Well, I'm with you. Okay, I'll buy that. Except they actually show that the New Republic in that sequence.
Well, the New Republic is also
as guilty as the rest of them, which is what they're a part of.
No, they're not.
They're part of the New Republic ship,
but they're not part of the New Republic.
They are part of the New Republic.
No, Leia's defying the New Republic.
Yeah, that's why it's the Resistance group.
Oh, you're right. They abandoned it.
She basically formed G.I. Joe on her own to fight Cobra.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, fair enough. So they're saying, all right, so then they show that. Continue.
And so that's why they go to Canto Bight.
What does it pay off? What does it pay off?
Finn finally makes a sacrifice when they get after.
Does he make a sacrifice? Because he gets saved by Rose.
But in that moment, it's a sacrifice that he made. He does not know but he's not going to know he's going to be saved.
But they took away the moment of opportunity to have someone do something great in that diverse spot. They took it away yet again because they don't allow him to sacrifice himself. And he does nothing. He does nothing. It literally does nothing. He doesn't stop a ship. He does literally nothing. Nothing comes of it except for a kiss from Rose. That then nothing comes of later on.
Well, that's because how the fandom treated.
Well, fair enough. That way she was treated was garbage. That's the internet.
Yeah.
Not saying that's okay.
No. Yeah.
Just explain.
Yeah. No. I understand.
My problem is if you would have taken that Finn sequence and actually made it mean something, actually would have done something to help save other people, it does nothing at the end of the day.
Yeah.
They fail. Right? And I know your point is that it's about failure, but now you've taken the people that you had a chance to uplift and bring something different to the table, and they continue to fail.
Well, I think they all learned something from their failures.
Can I talk about the failure part of this?
The movie itself?
I agree that failure is a big theme in this movie. However, the problem with the failure in this is that both sides fail. No one wins.
Right.
Even in Empire, the Empire wins. They destroy Hoth. They've broken up the rebellion. Vader almost gets Luke, and it's an almost a complete total victory. But there's a smidgen of hope at the end. They don't even give us that.
Well, no, Rey can lift some rocks.
Well, no,
I'm glad she can lift rocks.
And the resistance is wiped out to zero.
I was about to say I'd argue that the First Order does win because it's only just the one.
Yeah, but they lose their flagship in the middle of it. I mean, Hondo, does the Hondo special, or Hodo does the Hodo special and cuts it in half, which should have been Leia, but that's okay.
But again, we've never seen that before. It was cool.
I was
but it makes no sense inside the space that they've created.
Right? Why not save it for 3? That's an ending movie moment where that's a triumphant moment that should in a movie that's about failure.
Yeah.
And it's like, no,
Don't they tease that in 3 too? Like, doesn't 3 open with them doing the multi-jump, which is a cool sequence where they're...
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah.
They're jumping. Shouldn't that have been, like, imagine if you remove it from Last Jedi and that becomes, like, they set it up.
Right.
Classic screenwriting style. You set up, like, if you jump, you don't know, you might run into a starship, and you make that joke, and then they're like, we got to run into a star... Then Finn gets a big payoff.
Yeah.
I mean, Poe gets a big payoff
Right.
later on. I guess my thing with the structure of the storyline is it doesn't follow anything in a pattern that sets up. It doesn't connect to the first movie, except for it just happens moments after the first movie, the end of Force Awakens. And it doesn't set up anything going forward. It just kind of says, it's very independent.
Yeah.
Right? It's very compartmentalized. Whereas if you look at the end of A New Hope, it was compartmentalized because they didn't totally know they were
going to make other films, right?
The Splinter idea or whatever,
Right.
Splinter Mind's idea, all that stuff. But then Empire, they know they're going to get another one because it's worked, so they've set it up.
we have to go get Han. That sets it up, and they don't. There's not that moment, and
because there's no character development to build into,
right?
Because again, they're wasted on random scenes instead of the group being together, which is what made Star Wars fun. They broke all those rules, and I get Ryan Johnson wants to break rules and shift stuff, but I think the things that he shifted away from were the very things that make Star Wars Star Wars.
Well, I would argue even JJ was breaking some of those rules of having the group always together. I mean.
No, I agree. I'm not a big fan of 7, 8, 9. Like, I don't love what they. I'm more okay with.
I like 7 and 8. 9 is where I struggle. Like nine is them going, oh, we don't know what to do now because we've heard arguments on both ends and we don't know.
No, 9 is them giving up.
Yeah,
they gave up. They should have used Colin Trevinoff's script.
His script is.
Oh, see, I love it.
His script is way worse.
No, I totally disagree.
I don't mind. And I said this when we saw it. I don't mind the script of Rise of Skywalker. However, it's not a one movie script. That's your trilogy.
Yeah.
This mysterious voice from the causing the first.
And I don't mind. Yeah, and I don't mind I don't mind the Palpatine reveal.
I don't either.
It's the.
It wasn't exciting when I was like, oh, okay.
But I think it's
all. Why did we get a tease of cloning? And if they're going to go that route, this is why they had no clear storyline. Why didn't we get a tease of cloning in 7? Why didn't we get a reiteration of that in 8? To finally kind of set us up in 9? Like Echoes of the Past and said, we have the Snoke situation.
I think.
Care to defend that one?
What, Snoke being killed?
Yeah. Completely randomly.
It makes sense for Kylo's arc.
No. How?
Because Kylo's trying to discover himself, and in doing so, he decides that he wants to
take over. Right.
And so, therefore,
that Rey.
Yeah. Well, for himself. Because that's why him and Rey still have that disagreement. It's because it's not for anybody that he's doing this. He's still doing it for himself.
Great. I'll take that. Why introduce that character? Why introduce Snoke in that way to have him killed off as a big bad, knowing that we have no other angle to go on, right? I think that what Ryan's intent is to say that Kylo is going to embrace and become the most evil guy in the galaxy. He's going to be the new Darth Vader. He's going to fully.
And I would have liked to see that too, and that's why I don't think Colin's script helped with that either.
But Star Wars needs a redemption arc, so they picked Kylo for it.
And the problem, which
is terrible. It makes no sense.
Well, it's because of the people who didn't like 8. They complained, and so then that's when I've always argued that I think 7, 8, 9 did have a plan, and I think they were following a plan until 8 happened, and then Disney became reactionary, not knowing, or Lucasfilm.
They actually know that they came out and said it though.
Nobody's officially said it.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Every time I hear it, it's from people like Mike Zero who.
No, that guy's a garbage water.
Yeah.
They came back and said, if I'm not mistaken...
No offense to you if you're watching Mike Zero.
Yeah, no joke. They came back and said that Trevinoff said he never read anything Ryan Johnson was doing when he was prepping a script.
Okay. Well, that might have been him, but we know for sure that Ryan was on the set of 7.
Absolutely, but that doesn't necessarily mean that he followed what was going on.
Well,
Disney let them, and Kathleen Kennedy said it, she let those directors have their own unique vision of each one of the movies.
Which I think you can do that while still talking to the directors of each one.
Look, I'm okay with them having the vision.
No, vision and control in the script are two different things. I can have a vision of it. Ryan could have included the weird space jump thing, but he deviated from all of Star Wars narrative lore. I mean, he broke the pattern.
If you're going to
Luke
make a
is
trilogy,
another example.
you should get together and work it out.
Well, I think Luke I think Luke went down the path that makes sense for Luke, actually, because he was always pretty emotional.
I completely disagree. It makes no sense. Why would you go to that much trouble to risk everything to save your father and the rest of your family, and then not even care that your sister died?
To me,
he didn't feel it.
He
cut himself off.
He got told by Chewie.
All right,
but he cut himself off before that.
He didn't do anything.
So this is a lesson that no one's learned since 1986.
Mark Hamill can't act?
No, Mark Hamill's fine. I like him.
Great voice actor.
He's a fine actor. You don't kill Optimus Prime.
Yep.
And no one's learned that. And this, when we meet our heroes, nobody's happy. They end in Jedi, and they're like optimistic. The world's great. Everything's like, and then our heroes are in such a low place when we meet them. There's nowhere for them to go up to have an arc. And the reason why is because it's like, well, we don't want you to play with the old toys anymore. We got new toys for you. So it's the same thing of killing off Optimus Prime. It's like, we've got a whole new line of toys coming in for you. We want you to play with the new toys, and don't worry about your old toys, because your old toys are sad and depressing. We don't need your old toys anymore. But look at Rey and Finn and Rose and all
the problem was they were still Skywalker movies.
Right. And it's just like, there's a way to do this where you can celebrate your two trilogies. And they don't do that because they want to be edgy and different. And, well, we don't need the old stuff because we don't know if we're going, at the time they didn't know if they could get anyone back and, whatever. And in the end of the day, it doesn't work. I'm sorry, it doesn't work. Force Awakens is a rehash of A New Hope. Two tries an Empire thing, but it goes wonky. And which is a shame because I like I think Rian Johnson's a fine director. I like his other films. This one, I think he went too hard left. It's just weird. He just and I think he just reveled in just like, I get to play with this and I can do whatever I want, which would be fine if it wasn't a trilogy film. But it's a second film in a trilogy. There's no connection, as you said.
It's just to me that's a disrespect. It's disconnect, but it's a direct disrespect to. You got to recognize you're not playing an original IP.
This is not
Rian Johnson's IP. It's not. It's not even Disney's IP. Star Wars is so big, it's the fans' IP. Whether they like it or not, they're going to dictate it. I don't care who says owns it. We can be technical and play that game. At the end of the day, the fans dictate that IP. And we saw that. Star Wars took a huge dip after when we were growing up with the prequels, right? And all the content coming out was garbage water. And hardcore fans were into it. The majority of people did not give two craps about it, right? And so that's because they had created some bad content. The fans spoke, and they were like, "We're not into this." People weren't into it. They couldn't get another movie off the ground. They had trouble with stuff. Lucasfilm was in shambles at that point. To finally, Disney sells it to Disney. Disney has the money and effort to do it, and they've done it. Well, it's caused huge divisiveness throughout the entire community again, except for when Disney went back to what we know, which is now they're back to Mandalorian and Boba Fett. They're pulling back from what? The Jedi era. I don't care what anyone else says. It's from that space, right? And so they're back into that realm, getting the new stuff to work. The cruise ship fails, right? Galaxy's Edge, I heard, is great, but I heard it at the same time it's lacking a little bit it doesn't feel nostalgic.
Well, I think the cruise ship fails because of pricing, and also it just doesn't even it doesn't even look like sequel, let alone what everybody else.
The aesthetic is a big problem. The design.
Like it doesn't even look like.
If I'm paying that much money, I want to be in it.
Yeah, right? Like it doesn't even look like sequel, so I don't know. Yeah, like I don't know what they're going for.
But I do think that what we've run into is this systematic approach where they've broken things, and now we're into, hey, here we are, and we're going to crank out content, and then you've got 7, 8, 9 coming along that existed how they were.
Yeah.
They're divisive as all get out. Hardcore fans, some love them, some hate them.
Yep.
But most people enjoy Mandalorian, and most fans love Boba Fett. Most people love Mandalorian and like Boba Fett. And so, and Ahsoka, I think, will be a big hit. I don't know about Obi-Wan, but we'll see.
I think Obi-Wan's going to be fine. I'm excited for Obi-Wan.
Well, I'm also concerned on the more toxic side, which we joke that you are, but you're not. You're not. There are way worse people.
Toxic to our podcast.
Yeah.
I'm only you guys. I'm only here to be I'm the heel. In wrestling terms, I'm the heel.
Yeah. But like, I'm on Reddit, so I see the crate, the saltier than crate stuff. They are way more severe to this episode than we were, and
I can imagine so. If I didn't like it,
and it's funny because I'm on the stuff that like Star Wars like as much as I do, part of the Saltier Than Crate where they spell it with the Y, like Crate Dragon, and they make fun of those people, and they're like, man, these people are the people that say that there's a war between Dave Filoni and Kathleen Kennedy when no, there's not.
Right.
And like now we're at a point where it's like, what are they going to say when it comes to Book of Boba Fett? Are they going to say, oh, well, this is the one where they let Kathleen on set? And no, we can't say that because she's always, like, whether you want to admit it or not, she's always in the work. And Obi-Wan's going to not have Dave Filoni at all. That's Deborah Chow who's working on it.
So
and now
Deborah Chow's a fantastic director, and her action directing is world-class.
And I am scared what the more... Like, I don't really care what they're going to say, but I'm concerned that it's going to get worse with the fans.
I don't know if they can get as toxic on that, though.
Because they're going to... Because now Dave's not involved at all.
Is he not?
Not on Obi-Wan.
I can't fathom that.
It's Deborah Chow.
No, that's fine. That's fine. She can show run it.
It's just her and...
Because Robert Rodriguez is show running.
Yeah.
The bigger issue is
Mandalorian.
But the also...
a lot of rewrites.
Well, the also... And the other reason that Dave's not involved with Obi-Wan is because it has nothing to do with Mando and...
It doesn't matter. He's still...
He's not involved with Andor either.
That looks terrible.
I also don't... I mean, look... I can't say until we see the credit, but I don't be surprised if there's executive producer credit for Dave Filoni.
But I think in those though, he's probably gonna be even less involved than say.
I mean, I see why he's not involved. Look, I don't think he's very much involved. I mean, is he involved with Fett? I bet he's there.
Yeah,
but he's prepping at the time. He's prepping Ahsoka.
Well, I think
got to prep Ahsoka.
I think
his focus is that's his baby. That's got to work.
I would argue that he's more involved with Boba Fett than he will be with any other show that's down the pipeline that's not Ahsoka, because it's still part of the Ahsoka Mandalorian universe.
He was. They were, as of last week, they were filming scenes for Mandalorian 3. So I know he's on set for that right now.
Yeah,
and so,
which it's got a pretty quick turnaround, if I'm not mistaken, right?
It's supposed to be December.
Oh, it is a full year.
Yeah.
I thought for some reason it was a summer.
No, we're
no, because Obi-Wan's looking to be the summer one.
Right, so we're getting the next thing we're getting is Bad Batch in May. I think Obi-Wan's the summer, Cassian Andor's fall, and then after Cassian Andor we get Mandalorian 3.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm not really.
Which means and Ahsoka's next.
I'll watch it.
I kind of want it because I like
watch it. I'm not real.
I'm kind of interested only because I liked Cassian as a character, and I kind of like the spy aspect and rebels that have to do the dirty work. Because Cassian, like, that's the first time we've seen rebels that are like, oh no, we leave people behind, and
he's a Fulcrum, so we get to see what Fulcrum does. Fulcrum stuff does, like, which we may get Rosario in that too for a little bit, because she's also a Fulcrum.
Yeah.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, she's technically the first Fulcrum we heard about.
Yeah,
and so
that's right. She would have been in that era. That's right.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Interesting.
Maybe we get some live action of some other characters from Rebels that we.
I would love Agent Callus all day long.
Where is that?
Live action Callus would be great in that show.
It would be great.
Where's that rumor mill with finishing up that storyline?
Ahsoka's last I heard, because they got a
basically the fact that the Ahsoka show is being made, that's the sequel show.
That's Rebels 2, Electric Boogaloo, baby.
Like, that's going to be them finding Ezra and Thrawn.
I'm all in. That's what I wanted, and I'll take it in live action.
Which is why that's why they've casted live action Sabine, and why they,
Yeah, and
they haven't announced a Thrawn. There's just rumors on Thrawn.
Which I'd rather them stick with the voice actor.
Yeah, I'm good.
Lars Mikkelsen,
the Luke guy too, right? What's the guy's name that's playing Luke?
Yeah, like Lars Mikkelsen makes sense to just paint him blue.
Yeah,
and
having been as Thrawn, that was a long paint job. So I can only imagine what it would take for them to do it for like.
No, it's just now it's just dots.
Yeah,
CG.
But like it just makes sense with Lars because he looks like him and is intimidating. Like House of Cards proves that he can be intimidating even for Rebels.
I am all in for that. We'll see. I doubt we get it, but I'm all in for it.
Yeah, and then
I want the dude from Aladdin to be Ezra. But
yeah, that'd be nice.
He's not bad.
Yeah, so I think he'd be a good.
He's a good actor. I think even in Aladdin, he did his best.
Some people talk about Taylor Gray coming back, but Taylor Gray looks like he's 12.
Yeah, he still looks.
He looks like a little kid.
He still looks like young Ezra.
He looks 30, and I know he's 30, but it just doesn't work. Yeah. Sorry, Taylor, you're great, but did not work.
Anything else?
I think that covers it. I had some trivia, but it's not. Yeah, we diverted, so it's not really.
Yeah, there's not a lot going on.
I was happy to see a wart
the little frog.
The frog monster.
Yeah.
Yeah,
because last episode we had the Bomar monk.
Yeah, we had a Bomar monk.
And we had the spider with the...
that's the Bomar monk.
Okay,
yeah, the Bomar monk.
And so, they're kind of doing the different angles of Jabba's palace.
So... weird cutaways like a sitcom.
It'd be better if it had a live studio audience,
or just
get a laugh track.
Yeah, I think someone needs to do that. Recut it, Boba Fett like a crappy '80s,
maybe like
Magnum PI or something.
Yeah, or I was gonna say,
it's like, were you sure that's a good idea?
Yeah.
Wah.
Boba Fett.
With
the
respect,
book of Boba Fett is filmed in front of a live studio audience.
With respect to Bob Saget, Full House.
There we go.
R.I.P. Bob Saget.
Yeah.
Man, that would hit close to home.
Yeah.
Especially after Norm Macdonald.
Yeah.
So just
did they ever say how Bob Saget died?
No, they still don't know.
He was 64. He kind of lived a hard life, so I wouldn't be surprised with a heart
he
attack.
lived that comedian lifestyle.
Hardcore. Like, I didn't know how hardcore. I mean, I knew his comedy was raunchy and stuff, but he did a Nerdist with Chris Hardwick, and like him and Chris Hardwick, like when Chris started in the business, Bob Saget took him under his wing and was like out partied Chris Hardwick. Like Hardwick's like, I couldn't keep up with you. It's a great interview.
Yeah, that's good.
And so he's still kind of going hard from what I understand, but he's apparently the nicest dude on the planet.
Yep.
So sucks.
All right.
It's good to have you back. I hope hopefully JD will be feeling better next time, so we can. Man, COVID. COVID sucks.
It's getting everybody.
So stay away from us. We don't.
Nope.
We don't want no COVID.
No.
So I'm good or not getting
Novid COVID.
Novid COVID.
Yep.
This is Sky saying this is our contribution to the multiverse. Go out and make yours, and may the force be with you.
I knew you were going to say that.
This is the way.
I can't remember if I'm supposed to come in on that part.
General Kenobi.